Hi, good afternoon. I'm Saurav. Before I start, thank you for TEDx community and TEEIIT Delhi for inviting me to be here. So before I start, I just wanted to sort of before I start talking about like being foolish and taking risks, I just want to sort of give you a graphical perspective of my life, like all the way back from like 8th class to like whatever I did before I started taking risks in life. So at 8th class, I was in DPS Harkepuram. I was fond of mathematics, so I won some mathematical Olympiad. In 9th class, I started liking robotics a lot, so I started building robots. And at that time, there weren't many schools that had like robotics program there, so we had to compete with colleges. And there were some events where we, in fact, ended going to colleges and where we beat the college teams. So, and later on, I was nicknamed like Robot just because I built like tons of robot over the career of my life from school and all the way till now. Yeah, in 9th class, I had a first crush. My parents over there would be like, yeah, that's where my money went there in school. 11th class, I authored my first research paper in mathematics. That was while I was working with the mathematics lab in my school. And then I sort of came out of the school. I joined Delhi College of Engineering, started doing computer science. And everybody, just like you guys, we started watching tons of these movies about hackers and so I started thinking that maybe we should do hacking, and then I got into, so I took some of these certified ethical courses. I became CH hacker, but realized sooner or later that that's not what I wanted to do, and robotics was always there as my the love of my life. So I started again writing tons of research paper on robotics. I built more robots, and there would be some slide that would talk about that. I had my first real girlfriend, that existed, because earlier were mostly crush. And then, of course, when you have things that you're busy with studies and all, you cannot sustain two life and loving both of them. I graduated 4th year. I got the best dissertation award in my university. Government gave me award and next practice award to just encourage me, people like me. I still don't know why they gave me that award though. I went for a year in Europe. I did research with Toyota on driverless car. Went to Cornell to pursue my master's in computer science. And then I was at Yahoo. I was having multiple of casual friends. So it was at this peak of my career, right? So from here to there. And when I look at this time span, I sort of looked at this into closely 3 things. So this was me at college. I raised $1.5 million from government, and that to build a robotic vehicle that could move from one point to another point and basically driving without hitting to obstacle. So I think that part wasn't that the best part. I think raising money from government was the more challenging part, because they are not supposed to be giving money to you folks, right? I mean, they have some stuff going on with the Swiss government, but still, they managed to give us the money. While I was at Cornell, I studied computer science, and I built aerial robot. I built a submarine as well. That was amazing. And then I was also winner of their Yahoo Hackathon Award, which took me to eventually to Yahoo. I met amazing people over there. I was part of the team that powers that training now. So if you go to yahoo.com, it will show you what is trending at the moment, and I was part of that team. I was making money 7 figures Indian, whatever you dream of, right? So I was at this pinnacle, when you start your career, when you're in undergrad, and you think that you want to go to US, you want to have an amazing job, right? I mean, parents talk about money all the time, kisko zyada salary mil rahi hai, and I ended up getting all of that, obviously with all the hiccups in between. So that was there, and then I decided, I mean, of course, that has been there in me for a while, that about being foolish and about taking risks. So that happened when I just took the first risk of starting a startup. And so money and everything started like just flowing out. I started losing hair, it became all gray, no girlfriends and anything. I mean, obviously you can't deal with any of them while dealing with this thing. So my first thing being foolish was I started my startup with a couple of friends that I knew from Cornell. They were from India, and we set up this first company, Predict Gaze, in my garage in California while I was still at Yahoo, and I was transitioning from Yahoo to this startup. And that basically shows you we're literally like, you know, taking money from our bank account and putting into the startup because there were no other means to run the company. 3 years that the company has been running, we signed up a couple of companies around. Last year we generated 3.4 CR in revenue. Our software runs on like some 2 million devices all over the India. We grew from people, like 5 people, start up to like 50 people. So at this point, like, this is like the report I just, you submit to the Indian tax and government, and we realized, oh, we did so much, and maybe it's time for me to like start drawing salary because I haven't taken that in a while. But then, like, you know, the next foolishness thing comes, and which is like, you know, it's good that, like, you know, we built this startup from where I was at this Yahoo, and there's obviously like a leap of faith and things that we have taken. But our vision wasn't like, you know, I mean, when you start, you always think of like, you want to change the world. I mean, you want to do this thing where you just figure this problem is going to change the problem. It doesn't actually change the problem like in the first step, and we realized that the first company that we thought was going to change didn't actually change that much. But yeah, it did ignite like a lot of fire inside, and then we started looking at the problem from Indian perspective, and we saw that, like, you know, we're building software for mobile phone companies that are in India are essentially buying this electronics hardware from China. So they had like these deep pockets for like marketing and just pushing these Chinese products into Indian market. So can we do something where, since we know that like going in future, hardware and software is going to converge. So can we, being a product company, being a technology company, India being so cool about like, you know, building amazing software, and like we have this history of producing like best service across like the world, right? I mean, the Wipros, and you have the TCS and everybody doing that. But we haven't been really successful building like product companies. I mean, you hardly see a product like genuinely a product company coming out of India. So that was like, okay, we have now pile of cash sitting in the bank. Can we take risk and like try to become the company basically which says that, okay, the software is making devices smarter, but can you also build hardwares? Maybe it could be like, you know, it could target the emerging sector of consumer electronics. Maybe you can build a smartwatch, maybe a smart TV. God knows what you want to build, but can we start this sort of like thinking among people that yes, we are good at software, but we can also start a revolution that could be about building hardwares, and these hardwares. So we started figuring that problem, and that is like the second foolishness I think as me being running the company has taken, because ideally at this point we should be just focusing on software and keeping the software going forward. While all this is happening, my love for robotics never ended. So like I said, I mean, you know, from the very beginning, when I was in school, I've been building robots. So we started looking like at the India as a perspective. So this is like, you know, if you were Batman and you're like on the top, like usually in movie you see that they're just looking down. So this is like just a snap of like how Delhi looks like from, I don't know the exact place. But this is like just a Photoshop version. I could just literally see all that copy paste, and that is like how our traffic is. So we started looking like, you know, I mean, if you're thinking about driving in India, right? I mean, the majority of the accidents takes place in urban India, and 75% of that actually happens because of human error. So we said, can we do something about it? I mean, obviously the first thing that comes to your mind is, okay, build a driverless car, right? I mean, Google has been trying to do that, Audi, BMW, everybody is trying to do that. So I said, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do that. And like I have experience into it, and I've been building that. But when you come to India and you want to build a driverless car, it's not, it's, it's not quite the same way that you would build in Silicon Valley, right? Because there are like these kind of challenges, like your car doesn't know like what to do with that thing, right? I mean, should I just drive around? Should I wait? And of course, like you have like people just going this way and then suddenly overtaking and like just going over the divider and going in the next lane, right? Or sometimes even if you're driving in your own lane, like people will angrily look at you because you haven't given them this space, and they're literally coming in your own lane, right? So we had like all these challenges, and our thoughts behind this thing was, let's not build like the driverless car, but let's figure out what part of technology can be implemented in the ecosystem or in the whole this thing that is already there. The way we drive, we cannot change like how people drive in a day. But can we take out like subsection of it? Can we embed it into our cars? So can we embed it in a way that it makes our driving behavior more safer? So I think there is a video of, I just wanted to show that like over a year we have been doing this experiment. That's our driverless car over there. Yeah, this is Delhi Road. So the car is trying to learn how to just keep on driving. Yeah, so you could see that the car understands like when there's an obstacle in front, when to stop, and just this part of it. I mean, don't forget about like solving all the problem. Like I travel for my meetings from like Gurgaon to Delhi, and like at 5 o'clock it takes me around, I think, roughly 1.5 hours or 6 o'clock to reach from Gurgaon to Delhi. And this time, I would say 60 to 70% of the time, all I'm doing is accelerating and braking, because all I'm doing is creep and crawl, right? So can you take these smaller, just this part of the intelligence, can you feed it there so that like during that time, at least it could reduce your fatigue, right? I mean, you are not getting worked up, as in maybe you can take a call this time, and as the moment you come out, the car takes over. But sometime when you do this, you also end up in challenges like that, which should come. That video was just showing the car hitting into another car, because the driverless car aren't so cool yet. I mean, we are still in the process of building them. So there was like just 3 examples that are sort of showing that at some point I was at the pinnacle, and then I started taking risks in my life. The reason I started taking those risks, because I started dreaming, right? I mean, when you're in college, let's just say, take my example, I wanted to join Yahoo or Google. I mean, those were the hottest startup and like the biggest companies at that time. I wanted to be in California. That's where like the city of dreams or the land of innovation, whatever you call that. And I wanted tons of money, right? I mean, literally tons of money. And I dreamed all of that, and all of that happened. When that happened, I was like, okay, can we dream more bigger, right? Because that's like, I dreamt something and I got all of that. So maybe I thought like, maybe let's start dreaming about like, bigger things in life. I mean, things where happiness can be defined not just about like the money or where you went and like studied or like what did you study, but more about like the journey that you eventually took to reach there. So that was like, I mean, it's just like when you reach smaller dreams, these are like orgasm, like small. They're not lifelong, and you don't have anything that's something like lifelong. And the only thing that's there is like if you really believed in the idea and they eventually worked, you're like happy, even though along the way your life is going like tick, 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 tick. So the main things that I wanted to focus on are 3 things actually. One is the leap of faith. So when I talked about all of this, there was a leap of faith that I had to take. There were actually 2 moments when I started my startup. So one was when I left Yahoo. So that decision, being in US, I didn't have the green card back then, so I had to, so whatever bank balance I had to pay to a consultant company so that they can run my H-1B. So the money was just going to allowing me to be there in US to run this company. So that was like first leap of faith where we didn't know even the startup idea was going to work or not. And we just risked it and said that, you know what, maybe this would work. Let's just take that leap of faith. So that was like the first moment when I felt that that was something absolutely necessary to build something amazing. The second leap of faith came was when I think I just called up my dad like a week before I was going to come to India. I already had booked my ticket and stuff. I just called them to tell that, hey dad, I think I'm going to be in India next week because to run a company in India, I will have to be in India. And I think they were trying to get me to marry and like settle type at that time. I mean, that's what mostly people think of. So, but at that time, that leap of faith was I chose. I mean, I throughout my college career, right? I mean, or the school career, I was trying to just work so hard to get to US, get to like a college that I wanted to study from, like one of the top 5 of computer science, and then earn this money thing which was there in the perception of people, like if you're doing good, you want this like CR, like 1 CR is your package in this thing. But leave all of that, like the things that I did to get to US, leave all of that and come to India, right? And that was, I think, I'm eternally thankful to my co-founders because when I just told them that, you know, I don't know if I can go to India and build this company. So for 2 years, our revenue was like almost like we didn't make more than 15 lakh in 2 years. We just made like all of that money last year. So, but leaving that and coming to India and just like setting up the startup from the bedroom of the house that we took, and then eventually it just grew. That I had to take that leap of faith. If I wouldn't have taken that, I don't think today you guys would have invited me to speak here and you guys would be listening to me so impatiently, because otherwise I would be just another guy working at Yahoo, probably had like crazy love stories and you know, whatever that thing is. The second thing was taking risks, right? I mean, you have to take risk. I mean, risks like be it risk with the client, risk with the education, risk with anything and everything. I mean, I literally mean when I say taking risk, it means, I mean, whether you want to like date someone, you have to take the risk. If you want to like open a company, you have to like, you know, let go of the awesome job that you have and take risk. And if you like, you know, don't get it, in the end, you at least know what fails, right? I mean, you probably know why she didn't like you. You probably know, okay, probably I should have taken that job, had some experience, and then started the company. So anyways, I mean, if it works, you will have the money. If it doesn't work, you probably will have the experience. Uh, Third thing is like being stupid. Of course, like I think if I for even a moment, if I think about the day when I was going to leave US and come to India, I think that was stupid. Like I did all of that to get to US and I left all of that to come to India. Just that was like one flight I took, and I haven't been to US till now. Like it has been 1.5 years. But if I wasn't stupid that day, like if I would have rationally thought my decision, I don't think I would be building this startup or thinking about solving this autonomous drivingless challenge for India. And so you need these 3 things in general to be making sure that your dreams, whatever that dream is, like why when we say why we chase this dream, right? Even my life goes through all this year, my happiness increases, right? I mean, in the end, it's just like journey is important. And every night now I sleep well, because while I was at Yahoo, I was like every day, okay, I'm part of this, like, you know, 10,000 people. Some of them gets fired someday, some of them stays on. It's usually 10,000, and then I'm one of the guys that built that. And today it's about me building this company and like taking this forward. And maybe this also fails. I don't really know where this will go because of the stupid decisions that I'm taking, and I hope the board members don't see this, but uh, but the point is, in the end, it will be like something that I'll be happy about. I did something, I like the journey, and every night I'm sleeping well. And actually, someday it's just the days as well. I mean, when you're working round the clock, so you just end up sleeping during the day. And I think some of the IIIT Delhi students are like working at Cube 26, so they should know about it definitely. Okay, so that was my talk. Thank you.